Hello, my name is Casey Bernstein, and I would like to present a session today about the functional fitness of putting on socks. Now, when I was younger, and certainly I've witnessed many people, that when people are young and they need to put their socks on, they literally could almost like jump through a hoop as they put their socks on because of their skill level and their ability to balance and their agility. So then what starts happening over time is when people start to lose their balance and flexibility, then they start to lean against a wall for support, and they put their sock on and they put their other sock on with a lean. And then the next thing that people do is they sit down on a bench. Of course, this is the most stability that people have, and then they put their socks on to get to their feet. Okay, of course, this makes sense. This is how it goes. So what I would like to do is play with and condition parts of these aspects of retaining the skill of putting on socks and then also using it as greater conditioning. Okay, so I want to start off here in a chair, and of course if you're in a hurry to go someplace, you're probably not going to do this, but if you do have a little bit of time, this is a great thing to do. You know, there's certain aspects of health and fitness that need to happen in the body to retain the skill to get to our feet and put the socks on. One of them is to have a flexible spine and hip sockets. So let's create a little bit of mobility through the spine by just moving here in this undulation from the chair, and it also starts to warm up the hip joint. All right, now let's go right into the hip joint. I'm going to come upright, and I'm going to hook my knee here with my fingers underneath, and I'm just going to play with a little bit of a range of motion. This hip joint can become very stiff over time. It is the strongest joint of the body, and it can also become the stiffest. And so I have range of motion on this leg, and then I'm also going to play with the I'm going to play with range of motion in the other hip joint. Want to breathe. If I need to, I can lean back against the chair so I have support, whatever feels okay for your body. Now, coming back to the other leg, I have this range of motion, and then I'm going to play with something that I call the alley-oop. I'm going to lift up my ankle and rest it on top of this knee. And again, if this hip joint is really tight, this in itself can be a challenge. Let's play with starting to activate this hip joint with our breath. So I'm going to inhale here, lift the knee, and then exhale. Create a little bit of pressure, traction, to stabilize the pelvis and start to sense the rotation at the hip joint. Inhale and exhale. Again, this joint could potentially be very stiff and tight, and also you want to watch what's happening with your knee. You always want to keep the foot and the knee in alignment, so the knee does not rotate. The knee is not rotated in this position. It's the hip joint that's rotated. I'm going to inhale and exhale. That's a little bit of a warm-up. Then I'm going to inhale and exhale, and now just hang out here and breathe. My bearing weight into this inner aspect of my knee really captures the rotation here at the hip joint. So I can inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale. And again, maybe success, massage, socks, getting to your feet. Lift up, bring it in, bring it down, and let's do a little bit more range of motion here, and then we go right into the alley-oop. And this is where we breathe, inhale, knee up, and then exhale. Again, the breathing is really important on that exhale to bring the navel point in, to stabilize the pelvis in the chair, to isolate the rotation of the hip joint, right? You don't want to tip. Do that again, one more time, and then from here, I'm going to stay. So this little, having my elbow here creates some weight bearing, which creates some traction, which creates the sensation of deeper rotation in my hip joint. Stabilizing the pelvis on the exhale. One more time. Inhale and exhale. And then, once again, put my socks on, tend to my feet, etc. So if a chair is your choice, then doing that exercise to start to increase the mobility of the hip joint is a wonderful thing. Let's build on this though now to strengthen our thighs, because putting on our socks from a standing position requires strength, balance, and flexibility. So I'm going to be here in the center of my chair, and I'm going to practice something called chair pose. I want to shift my weight into my feet by hinging. I don't want to have to pull myself up. I want to push myself up. So I bear all my weight into my feet, do it, and take an inhale, lift. And then on the exhale, and again, you might want to grab the chair for the first time before the eyeballs on the sits bones open up. There. Bear weight, push up, lift up, inhale, exhale, and sit back down. I'm going to do one more time from the chair. Weight shift, and this is a really nice way to get up in general. Instead of pulling yourself up, retain the strength to push yourself up. All right, now I'm going to do this without the chair. So I'm going to slide the chair aside, and I'll start from standing. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. This is great thigh work here. Inhale, exhale, retains flexibility of the hip joint. And I want to send my center of gravity back so my knees are not strained. And then on this last time, if chosen, is I can stay here and breathe. I want to exhale, support my core, and I can feel my thighs working. You can do what's comfortable for you. Arms closer to center of gravity is easier. Arms away from the center of gravity is more challenging. I'm going to take one more breath, and up I go. Yeah, that feels like a workout. Now I'm going to put the two exercises together of the knee and the chair pose. The knee with the hip joint rotation and the chair pose put together. I'm going to use some stability of the chair to start off with. I'm going to lift up my leg, and again, this is a little more advanced. Rest my ankle on top of my knee, and then go into this chair pose with the knee, with the ankle on the knee. So this creates incredible flexibility at the hip joint, stretches through the hip, and creates strength. Now, I can choose a focal point, and if I like, I can then remove the hand from the chair and balance. Can breathe, get a little wobble in me today. Means my body is working. Go back to the stability, sit down, and come up. Let's shift this to the other side. Okay, so again, mobility of the hip joint, the alley-oop, rest. My foot is parallel, rest the ankle here. I'm going to start off with stability of the chair. Exhaling and inhaling. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And now the challenge. Choosing a focal point here and releasing, whoop, losing my balance. And I can fight for my balance, play for balance, condition my balance. A focal point and breath will help. There I go. And I can hold on and come up into my standing position. Okay, so now, the 3 ways of putting on socks. Our first way here is sitting. And again, I'm starting to play with the hip joint and pressure on that inner knee for greater hip joint, and your spine is where you're at today. That is great. Keep working with that. Let's see though, if you're sitting and could challenge yourself to then lean against something here and play with this at a deeper level, putting on the socks here from the leaning position. So that creates a little more need for balance. And then the next one here would be actually using a chair if you want a little bit more support, and then putting on your sock here. Yes, using the chair, and once again for stability, and then slipping your sock on. And then the final piece here, let me see how I do today, is putting on the sock with no additional support. And this becomes a little trickier because I have to balance while I'm moving while putting on my sock. There's one. Stability, stability. I feel on this side I need a little more stability. There's my sock. I put it on. And I did it. Okay, good luck. Retain your skill of balance and strength and flexibility to keep